We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing this. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with you with another new part of What If Izuku Was Trained by all of the Shonen Jump heroes. This is part 41, and I'm glad to be back with this, and honestly, you guys were able to make it to, well, that of the poll on what I wanted for that of, well, Shonen Jump Deku, to that of the, well, viewer count and I originally wanted for it. Just letting you guys know this now, updates will be slowing down though. Even though I still plan on doing this series, I won't be doing it as frequent as I originally did. So probably at least 2 months after each other instead of 1 month like I used to. Given that, again, this is one of the what ifs that hasn't been getting a lot of traction anymore like it used to back in the day. So yeah. Any rates, with all that said, let's go with that of a necessary recap. With Izuku training that of both Kirishima and Bakugo how to use Nen, with finding that Kirishima has a pretty good, well, connection to Nen, and hoping to use Nen to basically help Bakugo extend his lifespan, given that One For All is still killing him, but at least it's a lot more protected than it was before. Not only that, he also made that an alliance with the League of Villains, as he basically opens up to them, treating them like actual people, since a few of them were never treated like people and only seen for their quirks. Not to mention, he also opened up to Shigaraki, telling him that All For One only saw him for his body and didn't even care about him truly. He basically manipulated him to believe he cared about him, but in reality, all he wanted, with even Shigaraki seeing gaps in his memories, thinking to himself, was All For One always there, even before he was born? But then, as he still thinks. However, with that, they make a temporary alliance to work against that of the villain groups together and also take down what's left of All For One's forces as well. Plus, the fact that hero work studies are coming up, with Izuku and Bakugo now wondering what's to come ahead in the future. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? The very next day, classes basically go on just as before. However, that's when they have that of Hero Informatics class with that of Aizawa, basically telling him, I'll be going into full-on details about that of the hero work studies. However, it's better, instead of me basically telling you what you need to prepare for, why don't I give you that of the perfect opportunity to those who experienced it firsthand? Within hearing that, everybody's a little bit curious, with even Izuku and Bakugo begin to become a lot more, well, interested in what's going to happen. With soon sliding the door open, being that of 3 people. Within, everybody in the class a little bit shocked and curious on who all these people are, with Aizawa soon introducing them to that of the 3 best students in all of UA, otherwise known as the big three. Seeing all three being the same people from that of the, orientation ceremony. The shy, timid guy with the spiky black hair and a nervous appearance. The bubbly girl with that of the periwinkle long blue hair and purple eyes. And last but not least, the one in the center being the pretty muscular blonde-haired guy with that of the cartoonish face. Within, everybody is quite impressed. Well, some not so much, but as for Izuku, he thinks, have I seen them somewhere before? I can't remember. With then, Aizawa saying, go on then, explain. As soon, the one with the spiky black hair basically stares at everybody. With then, everybody like feeling on edge with that of the intense stare. As a few seconds go by, before then, the guy saying, I can't do it. I can't see them all as potatoes outside of just their heads. Before then, he walks over to the corner next to that of the door saying, I want to go home. Can I please go home, Mr. Aizawa? With Aizawa saying, no. So deadpanly without any form of comfort at all. The bubbly personality girl couldn't help but laugh as well, saying, sorry about Amajigi. He's just a little shy and nervous, that's all. With Bench saying, hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nejire Hado. That's Tamaki Amajigi, and this is Mirio Tokita. And within, she soon goes off on a tangent before then asking everybody about in Class 1A about that of their appearances, their quirks, their fashion statements, and goes rambling on. But then a few of them couldn't help but think, oh my god, she's a female Midoriya. With Izuku on the other hand saying, wow, she seems like a female version of me, and wow, is this how it feels to be on the other side of when I basically mutter to myself? With his Zanpakuto spirit Yusa and that of his, cursed gear spirit Izahime saying, yes! With Izuku huffing a bit about that. But then Bakugo saying, will you get back to the point, girl Deku? But then she a little confused saying, girl Deku? What's that? With then Izuku saying, Kachan, no, not right now, don't. But then Bakugo hearing that, is can't help but grumble a bit. With then soon, that's when Mirio saying, I think we got off track here too, Hado. Now, before we get started, how about we have that of a good icebreaker? How about today is gonna be, as he soon tries to get everybody to react, with the whole class just being quiet, saying, oh, come on, aren't you guys gonna react? I mean, you guys are supposed to give me your own type of punchline after all. With then, Sarah saying, that's supposed to be a punchline? With Sato going, was that even supposed to be a joke? With Mirio thinking, oh, I see. It all makes sense now. None of you have a sense of humor. With then, hearing that, everybody just couldn't help but feel confused and also offended at the exact same time. With Bakugo already looking like he's about to explode. Before then, the Mirio spoke up saying, how about this? The best way I can basically explain that of the work studies is, you all fight me all at once. With then, hearing that, everybody couldn't help but get shocked and surprised. With then, Ojiro saying, you really want to fight all of us? All at once? With then, Mirio still having his big Watt smile saying, well, yeah, honestly, I feel like this is the best way I can explain it. And in your words, it's more rational, don't you think? As he gives off a big, goofy smile. Within, Aizawa huffing saying, do what you want. You all okay with that? With that, soon, Kirishima saying, you do know that many of us have fought against villains, right? You sure you want us? I mean, you may have more experience, but we also have more, experience as well. Before Nejire spoke up saying, wait, wasn't that Izuku who basically took care of the villains? Weren't you guys basically put on the side? Within, hearing that, you could almost hear that of a record scratch. However, it was mainly towards that of two lovely ladies in that of Class 1A. that being Momo and Ochako. With Ochako going, wait, did she just call Deku? Within Momo saying, by his first name? Within Izuku realized, oh crap, she called me. Within, everybody begins to stare at that of Izuku, mainly that of a few of the guys, like that of Sero, Kaminari, Mineta, and surprisingly even that of Sato and Ojiro took interest in this. Within, Izuku saying, I can explain? With a sheepish and nervous smile and look on his face. A couple minutes later, arriving into that of Gym Gamma, with many of the guys basically, keeping their distance away from Izuku, mainly that of Kaminari, Mineta, Sero, Sato, and even that of Ojiro, while the other majority being that of Bakugo, Kirishima, Tokiyami, Shoto, and Shoji are not really caring that much, with a few of the girls also kind of curious, but not too curious. However, as for that of Momo and that of Ochako, they basically wanting to know on how close, Izuku and Nejire are after all. But they'll basically ask in private. Within, Mirio laughing while still smiling, saying, wow, quite a bit of tension now. I'm guessing none of you knew that Midoriya was already friends with that of Nejire? With a few of them was about to explain within, that's as I was saying, none of that matters right now. You can all basically ask Midoriya and get your questions of him after when this is over. As of now, we need to get this over with as soon as possible before classes start up again. So, get to it. So hearing that of the rational and always deadpanned and serious tone of Aizawa, many of them decided to basically put aside their questions for Izuku and now getting ready to face against that of their senpai. But Kirishima going, you really want to face against us, man? I mean, it doesn't seem a little bit fair. With even Sue spoking up saying, to be honest, if you want, we can all take turns taking you on. Make it seem a lot more fair. Within, that's as Mirio begins stretching out saying, nah, I want to take you all on. See what you're all capable of and to show you what I'm truly made of, given my work studies training. With Izuku narrowing his eyes a bit, realizing his looks are not just for show. He may look like a goofball or basically like that of a small version of All Might. There's something to him. Within, realizing, wait, I remember. Within, looking back about that of last year during that of the sports festival for the second years, he remembers Mirio during that of one of the, events of the second year sports festival. He left one hell of an impression after all, but not in a good way in his opinion, as he remembers the sports festival, watching it on the couch, with seeing Mirio lose his clothes and getting back on his pants. But now if he thinks about it, is it because he has some type of quirk that allows him to phase through things? As he tries to remember, he can't help but think before noticing Nejire playing with that of Mina's horns. With then him thinking, even though I haven't seen her in a few weeks, she still hasn't changed. Still the bubbly girl she's always been. That's my senpai for you. Within, Aizawa telling Nejire to get out of the way so they can focus. Within, still having the same airheaded song she always has, saying, right, as she waves to everybody in class one day saying, good luck, everybody, before looking at Izuku with that of a somewhat, dreamy-eyed look, saying, good luck to you too, Izuku. With a lot of the guys giving him death glares, a lot of the girls curious, and soon even that of Ochako and Momo, a little also quite, annoyed at the same time as well. Within, Bakugo saying, you really got a lot to explain, you know that, you damn nerd. Saying, yeah, I'm aware, Kachan. I'm aware. Within, Izuku getting ready as he gets into that of one of his battle stances before using Nen to conjure a copy of his Nichiri katana. With inside of his mind, Yusa spoke up saying, What? Not even gonna bother using that of me? Within saying, honestly, using you, partner, would be overkill right now. Knowing the others, they're probably going to he's probably going to go straight for that of the close range fighters. But if not, definitely maybe the long range users first. So we need to wait it out and see. Start out small before amping up the pressure. With Yusa shoving his shoulders, saying, all yours, Chief. Do what you gotta do. Just don't be shaffing me like you used to do back in the day, that's all. With hearing that saying, right, I know. Within, seeing on the sidelines, with that of Aizawa and Nejire, and, well, Tamaki and that of the far corner, with Aizawa saying, don't want to go in as well, Todoroki. Within, Shoto looks down saying, I didn't get my original hero's license. I don't have the right to step in since I won't be taking part in that of the hero work studies until I do. With hearing that saying, well, it's up to you, but it's a quite mature outlook of yours after all. You've grown after all this time, during these months. With hearing this, Shoto was caught off guard, but then looking back at everybody in Class 1A, especially looking at that of Izuku, saying, I think I had a good people trying to help me out. That's all. With Aizawa having a scarf over the lower half of his mouth, he can't help but smile, saying, well, whatever. As long as you are no longer acting like a child like you were before. Then soon, Aizawa saying, but it's time to see how much the gap between as first years and third years truly measures up after all. As soon as everybody gets ready, that's when everybody notices that, Mirio's clothes begin to fall off of him. With Jiro basically freaking out, closing her eyes and everything, calling Mirio a pervert. Within him apologizing over and over again, saying, sorry, this happens from time to time, especially when I'm not wearing my actual hero costume. And before Izuku could react, that's when Bakugo blasts him, saying, you're wide open! Within, sending that of an explosion right towards him, as it is quite big, but still, good enough to see around, with a small gust of wind basically coming from the shockwave. Within, as Bakugo was about to basically jump right back, that's when, for some reason, he uses the explosion to basically fly upwards as he dodges that of a punch that was coming straight at him, saying, oh, you got good battle sense. Looks like it wasn't all just for show after all. Within, Baku saying, if I didn't react fast enough, I think that one punch was definitely going to knock me out. However, as soon as Bakugo thoughts this, that's when Mirio disappears and sinks to the ground with realizing, what the hell? Before then, Izuku also basically jumps up into the air, keeping his distance away from that of, Mirio. With everybody seeing this, as many of them couldn't help but get annoyed at Bakugo basically obscuring their vision from with his explosions, now allowing them to attack or basically deal some damage to him. However, it's not like it was going to do anything. With Mirio right behind that of Jiro, freaked out and everything, given how nude he is again. However, that's the least of her worries. Before then, she feels a fist right to her gut after all, before losing consciousness and the air out of her lungs. However, not stopping there, he basically knocks out that of, Sero, Mineta, then knocks out that of Tokiyami, alongside Momo, Aoyama, Tsuyu, and Nina, basically taking out half of all of the long-range users, with the only two long-range users left of Class 1A being Izuku and Bakugo. But given that they're in the air, Mirio can't get them, or he can if he does use his quirk again. However, he doesn't bother before grabbing on his pants and screaming out, power! Within, the two right behind that of Mirio land back on the ground. Within, soon, Izuku saying, just as I thought. his quirk allows him to phase through things, but I don't remember during the sports festival what President Mike or anyone else said about his quirk, though. I can't really remember, given that he only made it to that of the, first two events, not even making it to that of the final event being the one-on-one fights. Within, seeing half that Class 1A is basically out of commission, with Bakugo growling, saying, "Damn Tim looking bastard!" Within, Izuku saying, like you said, "Stay on guard, everybody." But soon, however, those are a little bit worried. Within, Izuku saying, Don't lose faith, guys. Remember, his quirk may have something to do with that of phasing or even spatial manipulation. The moment he pops out of the ground or phases through something, that's the moment of impact that he becomes solid." With hearing that, Mirio couldn't help but basically smirk while looking at that of Izuku, saying, "You already figured that much out just by looking at me. He's really not somebody to mess with." Not to mention, just like that, the other guy, the one with the spiky hair and the loud mouth personality, knew I was coming and decided to dodge out of the way faster than anyone else. I won't lie, these two are really, really interesting. So I think within, as soon as Mirio basically falls back down to the ground, within, Izuku saying, "Everybody be on guard!" However, even though Izuku and Bakugo were ready for him, with even Bakugo using that of 5% of One For All full surge. However, he goes straight for those of what was left of Class 1A, the ones who are more skilled in that of close quarters combat after all. However, as soon as he hits that of Kirishima, he activates his Nen to guard himself from the attack, as it still basically hit him like a truck. However, he's able to still stand back on his feet. Within, seeing that, Mirio couldn't help but basically smile, with Kirishima gasping for air while still standing on his feet, with Izuku coming up behind him saying, "Nice work, Kirishima. Able to hold your own against him like that," saying, "Yeah, thanks to the things you taught me with Nen after all." With Bakugo scoffing, saying, "At least you were able to hold your own, shitty hair. Should have used your quirk at the same time as you were basically channeling your Nen." With Kirishima smirking, saying, "Yeah, guess you're right about that. But honestly, guy really hurts like heck. Think you guys could hold out before I can step in again?" Within, soon Bakugo couldn't help but have a feral grin, saying, "Not like we're going to be needing you, shitty hair." Within, Izuku saying, "I think we can handle this ourselves. Just take 5. Within, as Mirio basically gets into that of a battle stance again, his arms wide out, onto his right arm forward and his left arm back, legs spread with one back and one left and one forward, saying, "You two seem cocky. Not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you two got." Within, Izuku unsheathing his Nichiri katana, saying, "Then let's do it." With him channeling his Cosmo and blitzes towards Mirio, with Bakugo channeling 5% of Surge and blitzes towards him as well. With seeing how fast the two are coming, within, Izuku saying, "I go low, you go high," saying, "Don't tell me what to do, Deku!" Within, him channeling that of Nen through his Nichiri blade, with soon feeling that of his, and then using total concentration breathing fused with that of his Cosmo, as he mentally goes, water breathing, for form, striking tide! As he goes low, trying to hit that of Mirio before he can basically phase through. However, he's not truly fast enough within realize he's quick. However, he does cut a little bit of, Mirio's hair before fully phasing. But then soon, that's when Bakugo is already up into the air. Before then, Mirio pops up behind him, with Bakugo saying, "Got you now, Tim wannabe!" As he flips backwards with both his palms out, as he soon sends that of double explosions towards that of Mirio. As Mirio's still smiling, as it looked like he took on the full-on explosion point blank. With those who are starting to try and recover seeing this, with even Nejire actually quite shocked by this, with even Tamaki thinking that's not going to be enough. Before then, Bakugo, without warning, uses his brings his palms up high up into the air. Before then, he uses them to send him back down to the ground, as he dodges that of a punch that was coming straight for him, as he rolls on the ground before using explosions to prop himself back up on his feet, within realizing, damn it, I thought for sure that would be enough. Within, as Mirio basically goes back on his feet after a roll, within saying, nice work out there. Before then, however, Izuku was already right beside him, within saying, Pegasus, Meteor, punch! As looking like that of the constellation of the Pegasus was right behind him before sending that a flurries of blows of punches towards Mirio. As it looks like they just basically phase right through him before Izuku actually does graze him for one split second as he goes past him. Within realizing, his phasing. He isn't just phasing right through that of mere matter or shift or changing or basically altering space. He's completely intangible. Even my Cosmo alongside my Nen are completely unable to touch him. Within, soon, Mirio putting on his pants saying, wow, you actually grazed me there. I thought for sure that you were done punching me before I realized you, not entirely. You're really something else, Midoriya. Same also goes for you, Bakugo. Nobody's able to react fast enough when I'm about to punch them after all, but you were able to do so easily. You got some good battle reflexes there. With Bakugo growling at someone of annoyance, however, part of him can't help but think this guy really is the real deal. With Izuku thinking, if he's able to phase through Cosmo and Nen, then it's also most likely a few other abilities he's able to phase through. So instead of attacking his body, why don't I attack something else instead? With then switching, he begins to change to that of another source of his power, as then going to that of Ray. With then soon bringing up his right hand before putting into a finger gun motion position, as soon a blue greenish light begins to materialize around him, around that of his pointer finger. He soon says, Gachan, if this doesn't work, you're the one who's going to need to finish him off. With then, soon hearing that, Bakugo couldn't help but basically grin before Mirio soon decides to, saying, haha, still got more in you? Then let's do it! As he rushes towards the two again before phasing down to the ground, losing his pants once more. Within, as he continues to channel that of his spirit gun, with then waiting for the perfect opportunity, as soon, instead of coming behind him, he soon comes right in front of them, with then one leg back while still having his arm out and finger ready, saying, Spirit gun! And sending that of the massive ball of spiritual ray energy. Bakugo sees the perfect opportunity as he blitzes with that of One for All, amping up from that of 5% all the way to that of 15%. As he blitzes high up into the air before then, he soon begins to spin, but instead of spinning like that of an aileron roll, he begins to spin into that of multiple flips while channeling his explosions over and over again. But at the same time, he also begins to channel a bit of his Nen through that of his quirks. With then Mirio, even though phasing right through that of the spirit gun, he feels quite a bit of pain from doing it though, to the point as, again, Izuku is attacking that of, Mirio's soul a bit from using the spirit gun. If he can't take any physical damage, why not spiritual or soul-based? with Mirio basically on his knees trying to catch his breath from the attack. With even Tamaki saw that coming before then Mirio looks up, seeing Bakugo with his feral grin and all, with then saying, looks like they got me. Helixor Titanus! Is within as he's done spinning with Bakugo, as Bakugo's hands land straight right in front of Mirio, creating a massive explosion that basically makes a huge pillar of the explosive energy and yield, all the way up and somewhat even through that of the roof of the Gym Gamma, with everybody else getting sent flying a little bit from the explosion in power, except Izuku, with then soon Aizawa saying, "Goddamn problem childs." With that's when Mirio soon basically saying, "Yep, they got me," before collapsing onto his back in that of a heaping mess while still smoking. As for Bakugo, he's also huffing from that of the so much explosive power, as again fusing that of his explosion quirk, One for All, and Nen together. He can't help but feel so much power coursing through his veins. Even his hands, surprisingly, his hands don't look like they're too much bruised. Not to mention, he doesn't feel any numbing or muscle tearing from using an explosion like that as well with One for All. It's probably thanks to the Nen protecting his body and internal muscles as well. Once again, internally, he's got to thank Izuku for teaching him how to use Nen, even though it isn't really preventing that One for All from killing him. It's still at least enough to keep him stable enough as well. However, looking at that of the black scarring lines on his wrist going up to his forearm, he can't help but think to himself, gotta make sure that this damn doesn't get out. With that of Kirishima, still can't help but be quite shocked and impressed by all of this, saying, "Whoa, so cool." With Tamaki no longer feeling, terrified and basically nervous, saying, "Mirio!" But even Nejire checking on that of her fellow Big Three member, saying, "Hey, Togata, you okay?" With then saying, "Yeah, I'm good, just a little bit in pain." With then, soon, Tamaki saying, "I don't understand. How the heck did I get through your quirk? Weren't you phased?" Saying, "Yep, I was, but for some reason, the thing that hurt me it wasn't Bakugo's explosions. It came after. That's after what hurt me. It was within." Remembering Izuku using that of the spirit gun, saying, "Whatever Midoriya did to hit me, instead of phasing, it did phase through me, but at the same time, it still hurt. It still hurt like hell before the explosion came." Within, soon, Nejire remembers that attack, as she remembers going into the exact same world that Izuku went for a good while before being sent back, remembering that of the guy with the somewhat pompadour hairstyle with the same kind of attack. Within, soon she realized, so that's what he learned from that delinquent looking guy and the other guy with the pompadour. Within, looking at Izuku, and she still can't help but be amazed on how strong and how capable the young man she's developing feelings for. Within a couple minutes later, with Mirio still coughing up a little bit of smoke, saying, "Well, that takes care of that. Also, apologies if I went all hard on the rest of you guys. I really wanted to try hard to make sure you don't see that of my willy after all." With everybody in Class 1A, all quite annoyed and even still shocked about the fact that Mirio was so strong, not to mention the fact that they had to bring up that of both Izuku and Bakugo working together just to beat him. Even calling that of Mirio's quirk so powerful after all. With then, Mirio saying, "Well, the reason why my quirk is that powerful as it is because I made it that way." my quirk didn't even, when I first started out, my quirk wasn't even that strong or even that capable. Personally, it was more of a burden, with then everyone hearing that, as soon Izuku thinking, wait, don't tell me, did he? With even Bakugo come to realization, he trained to become that strong. Within, that's when Nejire stepped in saying, yeah, you got Mirio really trained hard for his quirk after all. Do you all want to know what it is? Guess, can't? It's permeation. With soon, everybody's still quite shocked about her, as she again reminds everybody of Izuku, but a lot more airheadedness, to be honest. With then Mirio scratching the back of his head while still basically wincing a bit, saying, yeah, actually, she's right. My quirk is called permeation. It allows me to basically phase through solid objects and matter after all. Within, everybody in Class 1A can help but basically comment at this, with even Mineta saying, that quirk is so overpowered. With even Kaminari saying, yeah, definitely, dude. That is broken as hell. With Sato going, seriously, dude, it seems like there's barely any drawbacks. Within, Mirio still smiling, saying, not quite, actually. There are plenty of drawbacks to that of my quirk. For instance, when I basically phase through that of objects or fall to the ground, my lungs can't take in air, so I'm constantly having to hold my breath. Not to mention, my eyes can't take in light, so it basically makes me completely blind. Even my sense of hearing is completely gone as well. Basically, when I'm using my quirk, it feels like I'm completely in that of an endless, dark abyss of nothingness. Feeling absolutely nothing as well. With all my senses, outside of touch, completely gone. Leaving everybody completely shocked, within even Momo saying, then how did you make this quirk yours after all? With that, that's when Mirio couldn't help but have that of a big, dopey smile and grin saying, because I trained hard, worked hard. With him explaining his training plan with basically using his quirk one leg, one arm, and one body part at a time, actually. As doing this constantly and over again, he began to basically learn how to control it properly and even move around while basically sinking and phasing through objects. Even actually learning how to make certain parts of his body still feel solid when he basically lands a hit. It's that very reason on how he's able to phase through certain defenses like that of Momo and Shoji as well. And the best part of it is, he learned all of this while working during that of the work studies during his second year. Within hearing that, everybody couldn't help but feel somewhat excited. Especially a lot more motivated, knowing that somebody with that of a weak and somewhat detrimental quirk like that of Mirio worked so hard and trained so hard to reach where he is now, to being the number one student in UA, they can't help but admire. However, within soon, Mirio saying, however, given that it seems like I may have lost my title given to those two, pointing at that of Izuku and Bakugo, with Izuku a little saying, nah, that was just a simple spar. If this was an official fight, you know that I would basically give it my all against you, Mirio senpai. Within, Bakugo saying, I told you, dumbass. The spot of number one student in UA is going to be me. This was not even an official fight, so you better look out when I get a chance to take you on one-on-one when these extras aren't around. Got it? Within, everybody couldn't help but get a little bit annoyed at Bakugo, but deciding to, well, let it be for now, given that they weren't really much help. As I was saying, now then, I don't think all of you are too serious, but as for you, Togeda, you should probably go to Recovery Girl and see about your injuries. With Mirio wincing a little bit, but still laughing, saying, I guess that makes completely sense. Within saying, don't worry, I'll give that a referral to that of your to your homeroom teacher and your other classes. And say that it was my fault for letting you do it, so you don't have to get in trouble. Got it? Saying, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. With that, Tamaki saying, if you need to lean on me, Mirio, I'm here for you, saying, thanks, Tamaki, appreciate it. With, as he leans onto that of his childhood best friend, with then soon saying, see you guys, take care. Also, see you later, Izuku. With then, once again, everyone's eyes, mainly that of the guy's eyes, back on that of the messy green-haired teen. With then him laughing, saying, here we go again. After one weird, uncomfortable explanation at that of the dorms, as the day now comes to an end, explaining his relationship with that of Nejire, the fact that she's a senpai that he's grown to respect since that of him training for the sports festival, and they've gotten along, but there hasn't been anything else other than that. Nothing else. Within hearing that, the guys begin to basically lay off of Izuku. Even the girls a little bit too. However, it's when Momo and Ochako ask, does he have feelings for her? With Izuku a little bit, well, nervous to say, if I said I did, would that be a problem? With the two girls look at each other before looking back at their boyfriend, saying, no, it wouldn't be a problem, but it would be a little annoying. With then asking if the two could basically, well, speak to that of Nejire in the future as well, when he gets a chance. With Izuku hearing that, as he tells them whatever they wish. But after that, they all begin to basically prepare and look for ways for that of their hero work studies, after all. Only problem for Izuku is, he's already 100% aware that Miriko wouldn't be eligible for the hero work studies. Mainly because not only she doesn't have an agency, however, she also doesn't have a good track record, even though she's part of the top 10. Given that, the hero work studies requirements you have to have that of an agency with a good track record of safety, following the rules, and many, many, many other qualifications as well that I'd rather not go into detail about. As before, he can basically head out to go and get some air. That's when he gets a call on his phone from that of an unknown number. Within him basically scratching the back of his head, saying, who could probably, there's only one person that probably would call me. Within answering his phone saying, hello. Then saying, Midoriya. Within realizing, Shigaraki, we got a bit of a problem here. Within saying, what kind of problem? With soon waiting on the phone as he hears Shigaraki tell him, the Yakuza kind of problem. Which leaves Izuku honestly kind of confused on what the hell did he mean by that. As little did he know, he would basically be drawn into another situation with that of the League of Villains, but in that of a different way. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, what do you guys think? Think I did that of the fight between that of Izuku, Bakugo versus Mirio? Because again, if I'm going to be completely honest, I feel like Bakugo would have a better chance, especially add that with that a one for all, he would have a better chance against that of Mirio, to be fair. Because to be honest, Mirio's entire character kind of was pointless right after he lost his quirk, to be honest. And given how busted it was, it kind of makes sense on why Hitokoshi Sensei wrote him out of the story by losing his quirk during that of the Saikai arc. And him being outmatched by one of the most broken versions of Izuku I've made, alongside that of a one-for-all powered Bakugo, I feel like he would have a lot more struggle against in this what if after all. So yeah. At any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to date my videos upload to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All link in the description below. Also, if you guys want me to do a what if, please remember to donate for that of a super comment, being the heart-shaped symbol right next to that of the comment section. When you're typing something down, donate $5 and I'll do a what if of your choosing for as a one shot. Even do that of complete and total original one shot story on my side channel as well. So with all that said, this is Leon Mookie signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care. You know what to do, Shiro. Close us off.
Hi everyone, this is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!